What's good everyone, it's your boy yadiiiigg, 4 eyes, 2 G's here, and today we're here to talk about Trippie Redd and his label situations. Now, if you guys have been following Trippie Redd for a while, you would know he's kind of spoken out against his label on multiple occasions, kind of alleging that they've messed up his albums or his rollouts or what have you. And in this video, I wanted to kind of touch on the issues that I'm seeing from my perspective, because I do think we've seen a tangible negative impact resulting from the label on Trippie's music. So I want to break it down, let's go.
From skirts, swerving potholes, made me flex on the bitch Johnny Bravo. Tryna stack the money tall like taco. Need the chips and the cheese like nachos. I be with my honey dip like Capo. Man, these little niggas ain't El Chapo. Me, my bitches ain't boat like Costco. I'ma do me like Rocco, yeah. I'ma do me like nicely, yeah, yup, and my white tee, married to the money, that's wifey, yeah. Running up a check like Nike.
Okay, firstly, just for some context to kind of set the scene, if you guys weren't aware, Trippie Redd did sign to Quality Control Management in early 2018, which you can see right here. And on top of that, on the label side, he's signed to 10K projects. So this video is not only going to be directed at QC, but it's also going to be directed at 10K. But if you guys aren't aware, it's not only the label that has a say in the music and kind of the releases. Although obviously the label does play a major role, the management is still very hands-on in the creative process. And for an artist, this may dictate things like features, track listing, release dates, etc, etc. Okay, firstly, just to kind of set the scene, I want to go through some of Quality Control's recent releases and kind of point out the issues that were major problems to me, and I know a lot of people had issues with as well. Of course, we need to begin with Migos and Culture 2. This thing was so fucking long, it wasn't even funny. 24 tracks on this album that was filled with mid songs that just elongated the track list and made it so hard to listen. Then on top of that, we have to mention Teenage Emotions by Lil Yachty, which basically had the exact same issue with 23 songs. And again, although this album definitely had its highs, the lows on this album and the midpoints were just so hard to suffer and sit through in order to get to the good stuff. 23 tracks is just too long. And then even more so than this, we saw the same issue on both of their Quality Control compilation albums. How much did this one have? 36 tracks, and then this one had 30. Like, there is no question, these albums are just too long, and Quality Control are well known for this. They pack these albums out with just mid songs on top of mid songs. And I think with Trippie's recent releases, Pegasus, which as you guys know completely fully leaked yesterday, and A Love Letter to You 4, we've seen Quality Control directly have an impact on the length of these albums. As you guys can see on screen right here, I've got the song amounts for every Trippie Redd release since A Love Letter to You 1, and notice there's a huge difference for these last two up here. A Love Letter to You 1 had 12, 2 and Life's a Trip had 14, number 3 had 16, and then exclamation mark had 14. Then all of a sudden with A Love Letter to You 4, it goes all the way up to 29, which includes a deluxe version of the album. Then the leaked Pegasus we got yesterday, which I'm assuming is a final version of the album or was meant to be at one point in time, has 26 songs. Plus on top of this, Trippie Redd himself said he's going to put the Rock album as a deluxe version, so that's probably going to be another 10 tracks at minimum right there, and that's what, 36 tracks. So it doesn't take a genius to see these last two releases of Trippie's have had a lot more songs than the rest, and in my opinion at least, as someone who's been a huge Trippie fan for a minute now, listening to number 4 and Pegasus all the way through is such a struggle because of the amount of songs that are on there. There are a lot of highs and it has some really good moments, but the mid songs that are on there really elongate that listen, just like what happens with the Migos, Yachty and the compilation albums. And I think this is just one aspect of it. Then we have to move on to the features. I've seen a lot of Trippie Redd fans complain about the amount of features on his projects recently, and it's a valid complaint. This is the amount of solo tracks that have been on his albums. As you can see, from A Love Letter to You 1 to A Love Letter to You 3, there was a lot more solo Trippie songs on these projects, with Life's a Trip having 85% no features. Then we get to Love Letter to You 4 and Pegasus, where it's only 37% solo songs and 42% solo songs. Now, in and of itself, I don't think this is a bad thing, and this is just a personal opinion and how I feel about it, but in regards to A Love Letter to You 4 and Pegasus, when there's already so many tracks on these albums, 26 and 29 a piece, then on top of that you add in all of these features, it just kind of takes away from the listening experience. And especially in Trippie's case, when his music and voice is so diverse and he's able to tap into all these different genres, I think he's capable of holding the majority of a project himself, and he doesn't need all of these unnecessary features to kind of add to the songs, and in some cases kind of take away from him. And this kind of leads me to my bigger point, specifically in regards to Trippie. It's very evident that Trippie cares a lot more about the music than the majority of artists coming out right now. And I think, as I said, he's easily one of the most diverse artists, he's easily one of the most talented artists, and he's able to tap into all these different genres and create really interesting music. Personally, I think to me, albums like A Love Letter to You 1 and Life's a Trip really stand out as great front to back projects that really showcase his skill to make a diverse range of music, and it kind of separated him from other artists. But in saying that, I don't think Trippie Redd has a classic project to his name yet. A Love Letter to You 1 is probably the closest he's got, and maybe that's a SoundCloud classic, but I fully believe, again, I'm a huge Trippie fan, but I do fully believe Trippie Redd has a classic project in him, and he can definitely make that body of work. But if he continues along this quality control mindset of just putting all these features and all these songs on the project to the point where you're nearly hitting 30 songs, it just takes away from the listening experience, and the project as a whole suffers, and there is no way he's going to make that classic body of work again that I think he can deliver if he's just going to put out 30 tracks on every album from now on. Plus, I do not think it's a coincidence that we're seeing Neon Shark, the rock album, as a deluxe version of Pegasus. We know Trippie has been working on this rock project for a minute, and in my opinion, he originally intended it to be its own project released individually, but then his label said no, there is no way we're going to release this rock album because it's not going to do well, etc. So the label wouldn't let him release it as a solo project, so they forced him to put it as a deluxe version of Pegasus, when really Trippie wanted to drop it as a solo project all on its own. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on this whole Trippie Redd label situation. As I said, we've seen Trippie Redd speak out against his label and talk about his label in a negative way multiple times, and in my opinion, as I said, we've seen Quality Control's ethos where they put massive amounts of songs on projects and a ton of features on projects spill over and directly impact Trippie Redd's recent releases, where in my opinion it's hindered them negatively, and it's just led to worse projects than he released earlier on in his career. But yeah, again, this is only my opinion on it. As I said, I'm still a huge Trippie Redd fan, and I still think he can make a classic, but I don't think he's gonna do it by making these Quality Control-esque albums with 25 plus tracks and all of these features. Let me know how you guys feel about it in the comments below though. Do you agree that these albums are too long, or do you think it's okay? Let me know. Also, before we finish this video, guys, I want to give a couple quick shout outs from the Instagram. As always, big shout out to Dave050 and also Finny or Finn to follow me over at my IG. Much appreciated, you two. If you guys don't follow your boy yadiiiigg, make sure to go show me some love over there. It's always appreciated. And just a reminder about the merch pieces we have available on my Big Cartel. We have a couple Cardi merch pieces. We have a Uzi one, a Travis one as well. If you guys are interested in copying one, link will be in the description. But as always, thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't yet, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on notifications, all that good YouTube stuff. It's much appreciated. And there are more videos of mine on screen right now. Make sure to check them out if you haven't.